Okay, Carolyn, we just had a couple minutes to chat, but I don't know what topic or issue you're bringing for us to explore together today. So, want to tell me?
Well, there's also a couple for me, and I wonder if they might be linked as well. So, one is finances. It always seems to be finances, doesn't it? But it's so I've started regular clients, all of last year when I was doing when we were doing the In Deeper program, and I was struggling with all of that. And I've now got really regular clients. It's great. But what I'm finding, and I don't understand, is that there's still never enough, and that's a big theme. Um, I'm having major car problems. I've just finished paying off the last lot of major car problems, and literally thought, oh my God, this is a month where I can breathe. This is a month where I might, and go out and just, there's so much I need to provide for myself and all the rest of it that I haven't been able to for years. And, got the car back a week or a little bit, and my car's broken again. And so I drop it into the guy, anyway, it's going to cost thousands again. And the same day I get that, I then get this massive $600 bill for my gas for 2 months, because it's winter here in Australia, which is, a lot more than I normally pay, and blah, blah, blah. So it's like, I just feel like I just can't get ahead. I can't get, do you know what I mean? It's like that, I've never just been able to just go, wow, look, isn't this nice? I can do this, I can do that, blah, blah, blah. And the other thing is I've got this idea, or not this idea, I've discovered that I can fix something that nobody else in the world has been able to fix so far. I know it's a weird thing. It's called golf yips.
It's what?
They're called yips. Do you know golf?
Golf, I know golf, yeah.
Yeah, well, they have this weird thing called yips. And yips are like a stutter. And it ruins careers, and it's a major, major thing. And it's not just in golf, but golf is the major sport that it's in. And it literally does ruin careers, and they no longer can play. They get these twitches when they go to the short putts. And I had some people contact me to do some EFT on it, and I just said, oh, would you mind if I sort of did this process on it? Not the In Deeper, but I've mixed the In Deeper with a few other processes that I've got. And sure enough, and they've worked like in one session.
So that's an actual physical stuttering that goes on, that when someone, and then after they do a session with you, it's not there anymore?
Yeah, that's it. They no longer have it. So I contacted some of the golf pros down here, and one of them being the Royal Melbourne Golf Course. And the first thing he said to me when I sat down was, and I didn't know the Royal Melbourne Golf Course is like the top fourth golf course in the world, right? So I've just contacted all these pros saying, can I just have some people to volunteer? I'll do it for free. I just want to see if this actually works, blah, 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 blah. And he said, if you can do this, you'll be a billionaire. I'm just looking at him thinking, oh, wow, really? Because nobody, all this major sports psychologists, you can imagine the money that's gone into golf. They have to teach them some other way to hold the club, or they literally have to give up. So Tiger Woods had it, nearly ruined his career, but he's learned how to hold his club another way, all sorts of things. So I thought that's very cool.
That is very cool.
Yeah, but so I've asked a couple of these golf pros, and the guy that said that to me when I originally went to see him, and he was all really enthusiastic. Well, he's just not got back to me since we had our meeting, even though it was like he wanted to do a partnership, he wanted to do this, and another guy that I contacted, he actually sent an email to his list that I wrote for him, and I've had a couple of people sign up, but out of a list of 2,500, I've had 4 or 5 people show their interest, but they're not getting back to me either. And it's like, that is so weird. It was so, yeah. And that's probably all part of it, but it's like, I feel like there's something there. Like I have to jump through hoops every time. I don't know.
Yeah. And just jotting down some of the phrases you're using too, because, the way
Yeah.
you describe things is, it's going to be useful for us as we work on this. Okay. Anything else you want to say about that before we kind of get in there and start changing
I
things?
just, yeah, I just like things to be easy for once. Do you know what I mean? I just want the struggle for everything, every step I take to stop. And I'm not ungrateful. I've from where where I've come from to where I am now. I'm incredibly grateful. And last year was such a turning point for me. And I keep saying it's changed my life. Everybody got to do this. Blah blah blah. But there's still, that not enough.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like not enough people are interested in this, or whatever. And with money, it just seems to be a recurring theme. There's never enough. Never enough.
Sure. And, such a common theme too.
Mm.
Uh, but let's see what we can do with that for you today. I actually want to start by asking you, so this really, two things. One is, so the golf yip fix. Tell me
Yeah.
about that. How did that come about? How do you explain that?
Well, as I said, it sort of came out of the blue. I had a couple of people contact me about EFT. And I just said, would you mind if I worked this on you? I use this for stuttering, and I went and had a look at what yips were before their session, because I give people a free 15-minute consultation before I do sessions with them. And I found that, when I was looking at it, I was thinking, gee, that's like stuttering. That to me is like a stutter. And I work with stutterers because a lot of stuttering comes from bullying and blah, blah, blah. And I just said, would you mind, instead of using EFT, because I hardly use EFT now, because I just, you know what it's like. After you've worked with something for ages, you just end up melting all your things into something that works. And don't get me wrong, I think EFT is amazing and it saved my life. That's what's got me on this journey 30 years ago. But I've just morphed into other things that work
You've
better.
evolved, and so has your practice.
That's right, absolutely. And I do find, because I work with complex trauma and PTSD, and I find 10 to 15 clients is actually enough for me. I'm quite exhausted after, a week of that, if that makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
just content magic. So I can't do a lot of that work. But yeah, so they contacted me out of the blue, and I thought, wow, that's really weird, and you know how things happen in clusters. When you do the work that we do, you'll get a cluster. I had a cluster of stutterers at the beginning of the year. It's almost like I was set up for this, which, again, I put down to in deeper. And
Oh,
they both said,
I just
yeah. And so
last sentence. I just lost your last sentence.
so then I just said to them, would you mind if I did this? So I put it to in deeper, that all these things. But it's funny that I got these cluster of stutterers at the beginning of the year and sort of worked with them, and sort of went, oh, this sort of works. So I can usually get somebody out of a stutter within about 3 sessions. So, and stuttering comes from bullying. There's always a triggering moment for stutterers. They're not born, or, things like that. So anyway, so they said, yes, we're happy if you try that with us. So, yeah. Did you want to say something?
I lost your last sentence again.
Okay, so I just said, would you mind if I do this with stutterers? I feel like it's the same sort of thing. Your hands just stuttering.
Mm-hmm.
They said absolutely. They just want it gone. So, and as I found out, golf people, I suppose in particular, well, I suppose all sports people are just highly competitive. And so I actually asked for testimonials from them. And they said, we don't want to admit that we've come to see you, which is why they've told everybody they just got over them themselves. So, which is why I then went to the golf pros and said, look, I'll work with 10 people for free to see if
Okay, so that's so the thing I'm most interested in what you said is, or most not interested in, but most my attention goes to is the stuttering, the fact that this ability that you have to fix stuttering came out of the blue, as did the clients that came
yeah.
in a cluster. And it seems to have come at a time after you went through a really transformative year working on your own self?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm also interested, like, oftentimes there's themes and connections, as you know, between the things that show up when a person comes to a session like this. So it seems like, you were talking about finances and clients and wanting things to be easy and there never being enough.
I do have enough clients sort of now. I mean, I seem to get regular phone calls. Um, that sort of changed when I started doing the Power of Eight group, and there's a whole long story that goes with the Power of Eight group, and something very unusual that happened to me. A
Sure.
psychic got in touch with me as a client. I didn't realize who he was. And he's actually here in Australia. We had a TV show where they pitted all the top psychics in Australia against each other. I'd never seen it, had no idea about it. And anyway, this guy's sitting opposite me, and I'm thinking, he doesn't really need my services. Like, he doesn't feel like to me like he's got major issues. Do you know what I mean? I'm thinking, why is he
And
here?
I want to, if I can interrupt you though, I never interrupt, but I just want to go somewhere else with you.
Okay, beautiful. Yep.
Is that all right?
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Okay, because the connection that I would like to explore with you is the connection. So you've just had this amazing thing happen in your practice and in your abilities. Okay, I'm just going to put it this way. I'm wondering what the connection, what the stuttering is that's going on for you. So we want to take what you have had come out of the blue in terms of your ability to magically quickly treat stuttering, both speech-wise from what I understand and in
Yep.
somebody's golf game. You have an understanding of what typically underlies that for people, which I think you said was often related to bullying.
For stuttering, verbal stuttering, yes, because it's a mental and physical affliction. It's not just, and there is always for verbal stuttering is a triggering event, whereas golf stuttering, it's more that they've concentrated in that particular putting motion, I suppose, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, one day their hands will start to spasm. And it doesn't happen all the time, but it happens enough, and then they get self-conscious because
Yeah.
everyone's there. They can't, all of a sudden they've got like a meter to putt a ball in, or even something even closer, and they should just get it very easily, and they go to hit the ball, and right at the last minute their hand will just spasm and the ball will go miles away or in the opposite direction, and they have no control over it.
Okay. And so for you, you'll make some progress financially.
Yeah,
And
apparently.
better.
Yes, if I can cure the yips, yeah. So I've only done two. I did my first test client today, but so I don't know if I can do it across the board. That's why I sort of wanted to test it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because as I said to them, I can't guarantee this. It's just I've had this luck with these two people. Let's see if I can extend that. And it's really outside of, as you could imagine, they're all very left brain, and they're all very sports psychology, and they've got computers and
Okay,
sensors linked.
so for now, let's do this. There's somebody who's come to you with the yips,
Yep.
but it's in the realm of finances.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, so you haven't worked with this before?
No, not in the realm of finances, but that's an interesting way because that's resonating with me.
Would you be willing for two of us just to see what could emerge for you in terms of your own evolution in addressing this particular issue, and doing it by starting in your own current situation in your own life where things are yipping.
Definitely.
Okay.
I've never looked at it like that. Yep.
Um, and I want to, for some reason, I just want to show you this little diagram,
Mm-hmm.
which I know you've seen before.
You dry ball.
So just to set the stage kind of for you and I doing something we don't know what to do, but trust that there's some resonance here. Those concepts stood out to me. They're the phrasing you use. They're the issues that you've brought forward as we start this session. And you just said there's some resonance for you there.
Mm.
So in terms of, understanding and using the principles of the unified field, which means that, you seem to be an individual over here named Carolyn, and I seem to be an individual over here named Wendy. And normally we interact as two individuals that are separate. But in this work that you and I are doing right now, in this consciousness that we're sharing, there's a larger presence, and it's a shared presence. It's an intelligence, it's information, it's states of being, it's connections between things, it's intuition that is between us, and which is present here as well, called the field, right?
Yes.
That is as interested as you are in you making a breakthrough.
Yes.
In
Yes.
this time we have together.
Yes.
That will help you move forward in life in the ways that you are ready to move forward.
Yes, and I just twigged, it's not just mine. So the consciousness is putting this there for me because it wants it to come. Okay, beautiful.
And what's the it? What's the it that consciousness wants and you want to come forward?
Well, it's really funny because I don't know if you remember that I redid my original goal when I started the In Deeper. Do you remember? And I posted it in the Facebook group when I redid it.
Remind me again.
Yeah, so part of what I redid, because I completely changed my whole sort of thing to encompass my whole life, which was my new goal, and that was to be earning enough money to be traveling the world, to be really, really comfortable, and to be sharing it around, and and it sort of hit me that, oh my God, this has come so out of the blue, and who would have thought that of all the sports in the world or all the things in the world that they would have something that that hasn't been healed, and then little old me from little has gone, oh, I can do that in an hour. But yeah, no, it was like, oh my God, that's part of what I wrote in my goal last year when I redid it during doing the In Deeper from what I originally started with. And it was like, if this is true, it was all about traveling the world. It was all about making, so much money that I didn't even have to think about money anymore. I didn't care, and I could share it around. I could, help with, medical studies that were being done that don't cover the sort of esoteric stuff, so I'd have just enough to do everything that I really wanted to do.
Yes, and so I want to say, when that all came for you out of the blue, it came for you out of the field. It was existing as a potential that you, with your intention to have a full life that includes traveling and being of service and offering something of of value and
Yes.
something amazing and magical,
Yes.
that would demonstrate to people that things can change that have not changed before. All of
Yes.
that intention for you came out of the field, and
Yes,
so
it did.
did what has happened recently, which is this thing that you didn't imagine, hadn't thought of, hadn't intended, this
Yes.
ability to fix golf yips,
It's
right?
weird. Because
Yeah.
it doesn't just affect golfers. It's baseball, it's snooker, it's darts, it's tennis, it's cricket. It's like, but golf is the major one. I'm like, what?
So let me ask you this. So as you sit now with a piece of what you're wanting, having emerged
Mhm.
out of the field, it's not fully formed yet,
No.
right? It hasn't come into full expression. You're still uncertain. Will it turn into anything or will it not? Right?
Ye- Yes,
There,
that's the thing. Mm.
there's some anxiety there, maybe.
Yes, and that I'll ruin it. There's an anxiety there that I'll ruin it, or um, I'll be so close but won't quite be enough, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, and that, yeah, I suppose a disbelief that it could actually be me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so all of that is like you sort of sitting within the energy.
Mhm.
So that whole potential of that turning into something wonderful is starting to emerge in more and more detail, more and more factual form. And now it's starting to bump up against some of these layers of emotional patterns.
Yep.
As it comes, it brings those to the forefront.
Yes.
So these are the things you're thinking about. What if, can it be me? What if I screw it up? What if I'm not enough? What if I get a chance and blow it? All of these thoughts, what
Yes.
underlie those are the emotional patterns that are still present in you that are not yet resonant with the you that will actually do this work.
Okay. Yes.
And so here's an opportunity for us to work together,
Mhm.
knowing how to work with those emotional patterns, those energetic patterns, and have those dissolve just like the yips dissolve,
Yes.
so that you can become more resonant with what's ready to come next.
Yes. Yes, definitely. Because there is that frustration that I've clearly worked on finances. It seems to be my major theme all the way through. And it's like, wow, I always seem to, I do the in deeper and do the in deeper and do the in deeper. And I'm like, all right, I'm in a real place of peace and neutrality. And so I'm not carrying it around stressfully every day. But then it's the constant bang. It's like, oh wow, really? I really just thought I'd have 1 month where I didn't have to pay out, you know, so much money to major things that just come out of the blue.
So we're
And
just going to celebrate and acknowledge the progress that you've made,
yes,
for the attention and work you've done, and for the shifts that you've made already.
yes, it's been life changing. It has been.
Mhm. And this is what it's like. Maybe you're at 70%.
Okay.
I don't know. But this is what it's like to be in process, an awareness of what's changed and an anxiousness for more.
Yes.
So let's do the energetic work now, shall we?
Yes.
Because I think we've teased it out in words as much as we need to.
Hmm.
Now, let me ask you, I can either guide you through the in deeper practice, or how would you like to work with it? Because we can do it in the way that works best for you.
I think I would like you to guide me in this state, just so, because I feel like I've guided and guided and guided, and I do feel like I'm making a difference or made a difference, but I feel like there's something there that I haven't quite seen correctly. Does that make sense? Or that
Yeah.
I miss? Because I've still never got to that. There's still always been a background, and I always spoken about this too. There's been a background of
Okay.
something
Great.
that's never shifted.
So let's start there. So the first step is to invite up the energy, the feeling state. So as you're describing exactly where you're at right now,
Yes.
with all the messiness of that, right? You've used lots of words, but at this point, we don't need the words. It's a complex feeling. There's frustration, there's anxiety, there's hopefulness, there's, discouragement. There's a fear that you've done something like this before and it hasn't changed. All of that just sits there as a vibrational pattern that's familiar to you. And
Yes.
so we don't need to name it. It's just there. And so, and you also said something interesting right now, which is it seems like there's something in the background, always something in the background that you haven't been able to get to. So let's just now invite your body, invite the field to bring present to you in some way, conscious, unconscious, whatever that background is, that you're now ready to have not be in the background anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so the field, as you extend that invitation to your body in the field to bring that energy pattern forward, and you take your awareness to it, the field and you are already starting to work together. And me too, because we're not separate on that level. The field knows everything about how these patterns were created, how they're sustained in your body, how best to help this move through you. So you and I, in a way, aren't so much working with it as we are witnessing and marveling at the change as it occurs in a way that's most instructive, most interesting, most healing, and best paced for you. We're not trying to rush anything. Nothing is missing. And you and I can now just be present, not thinking about the situations we were talking to, but just present to the energy patterns, the waveforms that underlie all these expressions in your life. So the next step in the in deeper process is to decide. And I think we've already moved beyond that, but let's just see, are you willing for these patterns, for this issue to change for you, even though it's been there so long, so familiar to you?
And I think this is I am willing, but part of me goes, there is a little voice in the background that's going, but you haven't been able to do it to date.
Okay, let's bring that one to the foreground. So that voice that says you haven't been able to do it to date, that has its own particular feeling state that we can actually maybe single out. Oftentimes, sometimes it's described as a gatekeeper. It's like the thing that prevents us from kind of getting in and actually really changing the thing that we want to change. It's like it says, nah, don't even bother. Or tell me more just about what that particular sensation is like.
It's like a tightness in my chest. There's almost like a sense of hopelessness.
Yes,
To it.
hopelessness. So are you willing for that hopelessness not to be there anymore?
I am willing, but I don't trust.
Okay. So let's look at the part of you that doesn't trust. What's the feeling of not trusting? What's the structure of that? How do you know that that is there? If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's it's moving around. Again, it's like a tightness. It's like this core inside me that's sort of radiating
Radiating.
out. Yeah, in from my chest.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I think it's because you know, because I've not experienced it yet.
Okay. Interesting. Not experienced it, even though it's been there a long time.
No, no, I've not experienced not having this lack of trust before. That makes sense?
Okay. Yes, absolutely. So, this is the most important thing for us to put our attention on now. And the willingness to trust when we've had lots of reasons, perhaps, in our life to not trust. This is a big one. Because is this something that you're willing and able to explore with me?
Yes.
Okay. So let's just focus on that one. What if you were to trust and still what you want doesn't happen? I'm just going to provoke that feeling by saying that.
Yeah. And then it's sort of like, well, I sort of knew it, that it wouldn't happen.
Right. So a dejection, like a confirmation that you were right not to trust.
Yes.
And that's the loop.
Yes, because it feels unsafe to trust.
Okay. So let's look at that for a minute or feel that for a minute. Because you're actually, as you're keeping your awareness there, starting to move through some of the layers that make that up. And your awareness of what this background state is that you described is becoming clearer. So you just said it's not safe to trust.
Yeah.
So notice the trepidation you have about feeling unsafe. If you were to trust, it might not be safe.
And that's already shifting now for me. It's like I can feel the energy moving, but I can't put language. It's shifted, if that makes sense.
That makes absolute perfect sense. And it doesn't need language because it exists in a realm where you just feel it and sense the energy as energy. And you've just done that beautifully. And it shifted, not by making it happen, not even by being sure if it could happen, and never having felt it shift before, it still is shifting. Not beautiful?
Yes. Yes.
So, this is the field loving you, knowing you, understanding the physics of you, these patterns, and revealing gently, a little bit at a time, what pieces have made up these structures of these patterns in you, a little bit at a time, that you're able to see them, understand them, and then they shift. Isn't that beautiful?
Yes.
Let's just enjoy that for a minute. Because in this moment, you are being held, supported. You are not doing this work alone.
And that's so interesting because, yeah, this is the first time I've I've sort of got that it's the field. I've always thought it was my body, and I was completely separate from my body. I still haven't managed to get to that point where I don't feel separate from my body. And so now that you've said it's the field, not my body, who's doing it, it's like, oh, there's it's like a relief there almost, that I can step aside and just, wow, that's really oh my God. That's so funny.
Isn't that amazing? You can step aside. You're present, you're involved, you're intending, you're completely engaged.
But the field's doing it, not me.
Yeah, the field is doing it. And how easy is that? Well, it's easy and it's hard.
Yeah, I was going to say it's easy and it's hard, but it's still much easier than me sitting there going, come on, buddy, hurry up.
Yes. Okay, so let's just check in. So a few minutes ago, it didn't feel safe to trust. And you didn't trust that this pattern could change because it hadn't happened before and you haven't experienced this before. Where are you at with that now?
There's still some anxiety there with that. When I delve into that.
Is that still in your chest, still radiating? What's that like?
Yeah, it's shifted. It's moved around to my head, down to my chest. So it's moving. It's sort of in the back of my neck now.
Beautiful awareness too. And beautiful allowing just what's happening to happen while you track it, right? There's no forcing. You want this stuff to change, but you're not pressuring it. And it's a completely different thing to, focus on a feeling and try and make it change as opposed to sit in the state of allowing it to change and witness how it happens. This is, the third step of the in deeper process is to explore the energy. And this is what you're doing, both with your body and the field. Insights are coming, thoughts are coming to your mind. All of that is working together as you just be present to what's morphing within you as your yip unstutters itself. And notice how you're actually trusting the field, your body. You're relaxed into it. You're not resisting, you're not trying to control, you are relaxed.
Yeah, and that's changing the whole experience of the in deeper that I've had up until now.
Good. Yeah, it evolves as you evolve. And the field is evolving, and our ability to interact with it and relax into it for so many of us is evolving. So it's so beautiful to capture this changing for you, because I know you've worked with it in the past, and notice how easy it is today and how nurturing. This is so healthy for you, so healthy for your body, so healthy for your emotions and your mind.
Yeah.
Is that anxiousness?
Yeah, it's just a bit of a hard lump.
Very nice.
Now.
Yeah, just notice that hardness. In a way, it's almost bittersweet to feel something like this because you've felt it for so long. It's been such a part of you, and soon it's going to be gone. And so, in a way, it's almost like you're feeling this for the last time. Sort of bittersweet. And again, you may not believe that yet. And there may be some, shreds of it that, are still left after this. But you are undergoing a fundamental transformation in your default, your background state of being, in a way that will leave you feeling much more like yourself than you have for a very long time, maybe since ever. Because some of these states we're actually born into because our parents felt these things and we just came in and absorbed energy, absorbed what it was like to be human and have not known anything any different our entire conscious life. But now you're conscious and intending and able to know you're bigger than these states and know how to work with them and let them work with you. See, that energy wants to take a new form too. So it's actively working with you. It's feeling so relieved and joyful to be able to take on a new form that will match who you're becoming and allow you to experience more of the things that the field wants to bring forward for you and bring forward into the world. And that energy that's currently in the form of that hard, ball, tight spot or whatever, wants to be a part of that in a way that is part of the future too. So it's all working together. And you just get to relax, be present, willing. And the direct experiencer of it. Just allowing what's happening to be happening. Because you don't know what's going to happen next. So just being curious. What's happening with that structure, that semi-solid structure we call an emotion. It has that shape, it has dimension, it has intensity. What's happening with that as you bring presence to it? Does it stay the same? Does it change? Does the quality? Go ahead.
It's just really interesting because when I've done the deeper previously, I can feel the other part of me around, whatever the structure is, but it still felt separate, like the structure is, stronger than this other part. And I know that's that separation. But this is the first time that I've felt that outer structure as the field. It's just a completely different experience and it's comforting. It's not like, you're right, it's not like it's me doing it. Because that's been one of the things doing the in-deeper. It's like, why do I still feel so separate to what's going on? This is the first time it's like I'm feeling like the field is me and the structure's not me.
Oh my gosh, yes. Ah, right there. That's it. That's everything. That's a profound shift, isn't it?
Yes.
And yet you're still you, right?
Yes.
Yes, you're just more you. Yes. This is so fantastic because for the most part, we identify so strongly with our emotional patterns as though I'm anxious, I'm, this, that, or the other thing. Our primary identification is with those emotional structures. And so you're just giving a beautiful demonstration of what it's like to realize, no, you're not that, you're not those structures. You are the space within which those structures and experiences occur. And as you shift your awareness, just realizing, and sensing yourself as the field, all the potential lies within you. The potential to change, the potential to let new structures emerge, both emotionally, mentally, physically, and manifestations in your life. Mm. And it's subtle, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And it's like, it's such a relief.
Such a relief. Yes. You're, there's
Yeah.
no experience that's bigger than you. You're bigger than all of them. And so it doesn't matter what emotional anxiety, anything that happens in life, whatever comes up in the space in your body, you're still bigger than it. And your willingness for it to transform and let the field transform it will do that. So there's no danger. There's nothing that could go wrong. There may be a lot to feel, and there will be, but now what you'll start to see is that there's such joy in the experience of letting life bring up something like this anxiety or this pattern of never enough, engaging with it, finding your place outside beyond it, and cradling it while the oneness that you are with everything transforms it in a way that feels good, is interesting, transformative, and requires nothing but you.
And I can't get hold of that feeling. Like I've still got the energy moving around in my body, but I can't get hold of that feeling.
Which one?
Oh, it's just come up then. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Wow.
The anxiety?
Yes, of never enough.
Never enough. All right. The never enough. Where's that now? What's that like? Because that was, never enough. I can't get ahead. I have to jump through hoops. These are some of the words you used.
Yeah, again, it's a weird thing because I feel when I mentioned it, when I was saying, oh, I can't get hold of that feeling, and then it just sort of popped up for me. But I feel like I'm more in control of it now. Like, yeah, it's something that it's like, oh, I think I can get rid of that now.
Nice. So, and again, the fourth step of the in deeper process is to play. And so this is what is happening. You, field, and the energy are playing together.
And that's what it feels like. I've never felt this all the.
Woo-hoo, woo-hoo. Yes, it's play. This is you tweaking the fabric of space and time. This is you changing the structure of, like, the code, going behind a computer program and changing the code. Not having to know every little, separate detail because it's all one thing. And it's happening as you stay in your expanded state of awareness, of knowing you have control, but not control like we're used to, control. Control as in, well, maybe you can put it better. What's this control like?
Yeah, it's not even that it's that I'm not in control for me in a weird way. It's like I can just relax and let the field do the work.
Yes. Your intention started the ball rolling. Your desire, you're willing for it to change. Your ability to stay present and focused in that realm where you can notice the energies and just to stay with what is happening. And notice how relaxed you are. And notice how much right now you're trusting this. You're like butter.
Yes.
You're just melted. There's no separation between you and the field and,
No.
and between the potentials that lie within you within the field. And you may, as you know, time goes on and you continue to enjoy being in this space and working with more emotional patterns that will arise, you can watch your thoughts wander, right? And old patterns will come up like, oh, but I don't have it yet. And then there'll just be a little like emotion or some structure form in the space, the emptiness, the fullness, same thing in space. And then you'll be able to work with that.
Yeah, because this has completely changed my experience. Yes.
So if we, I know there's still things shifting and moving there, but if we were to end there, would that be okay?
Oh yeah, that's okay. I'm happy to end now because I'm going to go to bed, and I'm going to continue shifting
Yeah.
because I want to really get the feel, really make this intrinsic in me.
Mhm. And
Different.
mhm. um, last step of the in deeper process is to recheck. And I don't know if it's too soon to do that because things are still shifting, but is there any way you just would want to sum up sort of what's changed between now and who you were less than an hour ago?
I feel like now that I've had this shift in perspective of myself in the field, that there is a possibility now that this will shift, which I have never felt before. But I've also realized I've probably been trying too hard without meaning to try. Um, I just, this is a fundamental, this really is for me a fundamental part that I just didn't get, that I've now, and it's like, oh, it's like having a new toy. I want to go play now and go, oh. I think, there's a bit there that's got to shift. So, I won't keep up everybody's time with that. But that for me is fine because, as I said, I just feel very different about being deeper now.
Wonderful. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. And I'd love to know sort of, anything after this that you noticed both on the inside or outside or both.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm going to
Thank you.
stop the recording, but you stay on for a second, okay?